because we're now live. Now,
can you hear me?
I don't know. I can't hear you. You have to keep talking.
Mr. Bean.
That's right, dude.
Yeah, and the snow golem. Oh, Olaf.
How do you feel about this?
I like Olaf.
You love it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They're making the same face too.
it was like dumb luck.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a.
It's the only way to be sure. It's the only way.
I put up a poll. Here we go.
Who you watch, Mr. Bean the movie or the television show? Who's Mr. Bean?
Yeah, and so let's just make sure that I get your channel because I can't actually.
So that's new.
Yes, I watched it today. Yep. I woke up and there it was. All right, so our sound looks like it's good. So
cool.
I think we can probably you can probably unplug my headset here, and then we can get you to do your do the intro, and then we can get started. How's that sound?
Welcome to How to RPG. I'm David Bailey. I will be your host today, this morning, this afternoon, and this evening, and in the early wee hours of the morning.
The microphone's on the other side.
And don't forget to be.
Stop looking at me.
Don't forget to be kind to your neighbours too. And today we are painting little snowmen. Olaf 1, Olaf 2. Yeah, they'll probably be white on them somewhere. Okay.
So before you.
All going well. All going well, there will be white somewhere.
Yeah, this is. Oh dear.
Fred still has remnants of COVID cough, so I have to make him not laugh too hard.
Well, yeah, maybe it's because of all this damp, cold weather. It's starting to I'm starting to cause me problems. There might be what's going on here. The sunshine was probably helping a lot more. So no, we're not really. He's not going to paint a snowman, okay? No. And the joke is Olaf, but it's not really Olaf.
But really, when you look at them,
no,
they look a little bit like Slimer.
They don't even have eyeballs, dude. There's just a mouth. There's just a mouth there. There's no nose. So
how can they see anything?
They probably can't.
So they just throw snowballs anywhere?
Well, probably. Do you want to start painting while I start talking?
I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of colour on these. Yeah. I'll do one at a time. And this guy looks cute, so I'm going to start with him. Because the other guy they both look cute, actually, let's be honest. Yeah,
they kind of do. So these were a gift. And for those of you who are unaware, David didn't do any prep on these. These are just
straight out of the box.
Straight out of the box, and the paint going on.
It's just going to go on there.
Yeah.
It's going to be... It's going to be interesting. Hopefully, I didn't even bring the fan today.
Oh, you didn't bring your fan.
No.
Oh no, we're gonna
roast.
Right, we're gonna definitely roast. Okay, so that means the shirts are off.
Yeah. Again.
I know. Actually, maybe I can handle it for a little bit longer.
Okay.
And then I'll because it's confined space. It's sometimes I should have made sure I went to the toilet. I've had to go so many times today. So normally in a live stream,
are you dehydrated too?
I don't know what's going on. But I need to go and and normally what I would do is I would just start the stream late, but we were already late. And
that's my fault.
Yeah, and or I would just walk away and say, David, it's all yours, and I'll go do my business.
Yeah.
But maybe I should just go now.
If you need to go, make sure you keep hydrating though.
Keep hydrating.
Yeah,
yep.
Even though you need to go to the toilet all the time.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And the more you drink, though, the more you have to go. So, all right.
It's either that or you end up with elbows like mine.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Not fun.
All right. Give me a second.
Yep.
I didn't go in the office, people. I just wanted to do it. I couldn't help myself. Okay, I just poured water into my cup. I didn't actually go to the toilet.
It's going to be one of those days.
It's going to be one of those days. Toilet humour. Look, so I was watching Mr. Bean last night.
Oh, were you?
Well, I needed something a palate cleanser for all of the dramas that have been happening recently. And I felt like Mr. Bean was a good palate cleanser. Do you know, there's something that I realised when I was watching it. You know the TV series, it would have like a beam of light shine down into the middle of a street if you painted yourself.
Yep.
Well done.
Started early.
Do you want a cloth to wipe it off? I have a cloth. Oh, you want me to wipe it off?
Yep. Yes.
Dude, it's just spreading.
Thanks.
You are just purple everywhere now.
Awesome.
And in fact, yeah, you are definitely. Is that ever going to come off now?
It'll come off. It'll come off. I'm sure it will come off.
All right. So today's an odd day because one of my buddies is actually doing a live stream on how to build an RPG live all day.
So that started already?
He's already started. He started at 9 o'clock. And then, of course, I've got my live stream. So I don't expect an awful lot of people here.
Hey, Osric.
Yeah, how's it going? Osric the Dwarf is back with us. Thank you for coming. And we've got Jasper. Hello, Jasper. You haven't seen Mr. Bean in years. Yes, so
Neither have I, actually.
I felt, look, it made a big difference. I felt so much better. I was watching Mr. Bean, and I think, yeah, this is it. I'm feeling so much happier than I was before. And then I watched John Carter.
Why?
Because it's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
And it should have been called, I know a lot of people.
Princess of Mars.
That's right. I know a lot of people said it should have been called John Carter from Mars, but the original book was actually called The Princess from Mars. You know, The Princess from Mars. Oh, I'm gonna choke and drown on my own stuff. This is just gonna be disgusting.
Awesome.
Give me a second, see if I can get a lozenge in there. Now you're going blue and purple. Is there a strategy behind this, or have you decided to ditch it all completely?
I've been ditching it all completely all week.
Well, I have noticed that.
Yeah. It's my strategy.
But you have a plan A, because I feel like you're blending purple and blues, so you're actually going for a sort of a blue-white look going on.
Yeah. Although I wish I had brought my fan now, because this is going to have to dry. I might have to.
Oh, well, that's what you got too. So you can move on to the next one. That's the good thing. Yeah. Hello, Dungeons and Chronics. How are you doing?
Back for more.
Yeah.
More punishment.
Yeah, that's right. More punishment. Jasper, what do you got here? Is a snow golem new? Look, so for those of you who don't, we did actually discuss this, but golems are not IP. You can't plaster or plant an IP on them. You could maybe copyright the appearance of your specific golem if you've got one. But yeah, a snow golem's not in the Dungeons and Donuts book. So if you're looking for Dungeons and Donuts and you're trying to find a snow golem, you won't find it. You'd have to look in a different supplement. And I'm not sure what supplement that is. Probably another Dungeons and Donuts book, or maybe Demons and Devils, or I don't know, Pathfinder, or OSR, ESR, DTR. I don't know, one of those. I mean,
TV.
DD. Exactly. What do you got here, Auric? Beholders are in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Well, that's because Wizards of the Dopes is responsible for those IPs. That'll explain a lot. Wizards of the Dopes is they make a lot of stuff, don't they?
Well, yep, they do.
And so if you have,
so does Santa Claus, though.
So going back to, because we don't want to get sidetracked and wind up talking about snow golems or golems, because that would be like stupid.
Why would we talk about snow golems when we were painting Olaf?
I'm not saying Olaf.
Olaf and Mr. Bean.
I was talking about Mr. Bean in the TV show. Yep. And there's like a beam of light that beams down into the middle of the street.
Oh, yes.
You remember?
Yes, I remember.
And then suddenly, poof, he's there. He drops down, and then he gets back up after he's fallen on his face.
Yeah.
Dusts himself off. You can tell almost immediately he's a doofus.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, why did they decide to do it that way? And I finally realised why Mr. Bean just does not seem to operate like everybody else.
Because he's from another planet.
That's it. Mr. Bean that whole scene is to indicate that Mr. Bean is actually not from Earth.
Because he doesn't speak English.
He doesn't.
He sort of does. He learns it.
Pigeon English, and very, very rarely does he do so.
Yeah.
And he seems to have absolutely no understanding of social etiquette and anything. Like it's
or common sense, or
yeah. So what's the color and color? What color is that? So what colors are you?
Blue, light purple, Hexlechen purple, turquoise, and what's the other one? Light electric blue.
Electric blue.
Electric blue.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
I have a question. We might really need to have that fan. Whereabouts is that?
Has
fan?
everyone got a hairdryer?
No. Well, she probably does, but it will be very loud. But here's the thing: you could paint and talk, and I could just run over to your house, right? Because it's only 4 doors down, right? We live in the same street. Yes, people, I know. Don't even say it. I could just run down. Whereabouts is that fan?
On the table. There must be one of those fans here, surely.
No, we don't have fans like that. Good morning, Nitro Man. Nitro Man is a patron. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
We're going all Mr. Bean today. So maybe, do you remember any of the Mr. Bean stories and things that you sort of remember seeing?
I remember the turkey on his head.
Well, how about
that was the Christmas one.
Why don't you talk about that while I run like a mad thing in some jandals up my hill, down the road a little bit, go to it's on the dining room table?
Yeah, it still probably won't dry these out fast enough, though.
I think you're wrong. I think it will make a big difference. I've found that blowing on it, even with my mouth, has helped. Do you know what I mean? It's just down to how hot. Humidity is actually what there's. When you get really hot, paint dries too fast. But
so does your skin.
If it gets too humid, the paint doesn't dry at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember? You know what I mean. You know this.
I know.
You know this.
I know.
Friesen doesn't strike me as a runner. No, I'm a roller. I probably am going to be puffing a lot. So I'm going to run.
Are you really going to do that?
Of course I'm going to do this. See, I just poured my drink into a cup and pretended I was pissing on a live stream, dude.
Man. Of
course I'm going to do this. There's very few things that I won't do or take the mickey out of, as you know.
Yeah.
Including myself. So I'm going to run, and you're going to talk about Mr. Bean while you're painting.
Oh man, I can't remember Mr. Bean, bro.
Well, then I don't talk about Warhammer. Talk about anything. I don't care.
Warhammer.
Talk about something. I don't care what you talk about. You talk about something. Okay. Well,
what do you guys think I should talk about?
Well, you could.
Yeah, it is gross. I was set to sit next to this.
I'm gonna run. You're gonna talk about something. Okay.
Okay.
Let's
secretly discuss Fred while he's gone.
Oh God. Okay. This is gonna be bad for me. Okay. I'm going, people. I will be as quick as I can, and David will keep you entertained.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Fred. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
I'm not entertaining, by the way, and I don't talk very much usually without Fred around. I understand alien hypothesis. Low roll from Tom Hanks using a disguise as a kit. That's so funny. Yeah. Oh well, I've already painted them both now, so I don't really know. OGL. Yeah. Everyone's talking about it. I don't even play Dungeons and Dragons. The game that shall not be named. And I know about it. Oh, really? Very few. Currently in the process of creating. Political economy, religion, military. Okay. That's pretty funny. These are not going to dry with that fan, I don't think. I should have done this last night. D&D deity. I have played D&D, but only with Fred. As we did the family games, but it was years ago. Heaps of fun though. Heaps of fun. I feel like I'm just painting like a 2-year-old. Dragon Quest. I know the name Dragon Quest, I just can't remember. Great. So Fred's just left me here to get a fan, and now I've got nothing to paint because they're all wet, and I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. This is awesome. Warhammer? Anyone know about Warhammer? Crappy Buddha. Yeah, I'm painting it underneath, and then I'll go over the top with light coats of different coloured whites and brushes of paint. Should I get my wife for painting a hill giant? Starter set. Yeah, washes are always handy. It's if you just want to get your miniatures on the table, they're the way to go. It's fast. Paint sets and stuff that I can recommend for a hill giant. I don't even know what does a hill giant. Hill giant look like. So look. Oh, okay. If it's Forgotten Realms or Hill Giant, probably like a Vallejo does a good flesh tones paint set that you can get. There's about 3 of them actually. So you can get one of those kits. Comes with about 6 paints, I think, all designed for flesh. And then what are they wearing? They're just sort of wearing normal clothes and rags and stuff. You probably could get away with that, and some browns maybe. And brushes to recommend. Da Vinci's are good. Da Vinci's. I can recommend Da Vinci's. Tell us about the best paint to use. I can't afford the best paint. Well, no, that's not true. I can. It's just not in this country. It's not able to. I can't get it here. Chimera paints are really, really good, and the best for pigments is Scale 75, the artisan sets. So they come in tubes of paint. They've got really, really fine pigments. So they're probably the best I can think of. And for airbrushing, Chimera paints, Vallejo. What else is there? AK Interactive are also really good as well. So has anybody, since we're talking about Mr. Bean, has anyone actually seen Mr. Bean? What colour do you want to paint the hill giant? Yes, I built and painted it. Which one? There's 2 in there. I built them both. I built all of the cars. I'll be putting some more up. Because everything I have now is for sale, so I'm going to try and have some footage of it. I custom build them though. Fred's back.
Okay. I have a story for you. Here's the fan.
Okay.
And you're having to wait for the paint to dry, eh?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be too hard for it to dry properly.
Oh look, she gave us the wrong connector.
No. Does it work? Okay.
Place it that way.
Do you want it that way? Why don't you point at it and at you at the same time? Yeah, we can stand it up and just angle it down. And just aim it at it and you. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Right, I have a story for you.
Okay, story we need because they're getting bored with me already.
Are they?
I don't know.
Well, probably.
I don't talk very much.
Well, I know this. This is why this is
no
practice.
experience.
I've thrown you into the deep end.
You always do that.
It does seem to be that case.
Oh, that fan is good though.
It is. I'm not actually feeling that much of it. So this is let me catch my breath. So I've discovered I can't run up hills anymore. Certainly not my driveway.
Oh, how'd you get up there?
Very slowly.
Yeah, I can tell from all the waiting I had to do.
I know. And then getting down to your mum's house was actually quite difficult as well. So I am drinking water just slowly.
Is it water or pee in a cup?
It could be any of these. Mr. Bean in America is kind of rare, but known by the same people who like
Monty Python's and Fawlty Towers.
Yeah. Fawlty Towers. Yeah. Although I think Monty Python's not quite as funny as Mr. Bean. I think Mr. Bean's a bit funnier.
How do I feel about using bad figurines for practice? Yeah. That's what these are, isn't it?
What are you suggesting? That's because they're made by
No, it's because
a company that is producing Dungeons and Donuts products.
No, it's because every time I see a third-party company come out, they see these things and they make them 1,000 times better.
Right.
And that's why.
Okay.
So it's just third parties doing a really good job.
They are.
Which is good for people that want to change mechanics.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my story.
What's your story?
I finally got to Mum's place.
And you didn't pass out.
I knocked on the door. I went to open it and it was locked.
That was my fault. I accidentally locked it on the wall.
So then I was like, oh shit, but I still need the fan. So I knocked on the door and called out a few times to see if somebody would respond. Nobody responded. And I was like, oh God, what do I do? How do I deal with this? So I go back and tell David I couldn't get into the house because it was locked and I couldn't get the fan. And so I started looking around. And I felt like I'd suddenly... Benny Hill got hammered pretty hard because apparently his humour was all right to begin with, but after a while people didn't like it. So, which is, is interesting because I remember Benny Hill looked after the ladies that were in his shows extremely well, and not in a lewd or crude way. But so I was looking around and I saw a ladder. There was 2 ladders outside, in fact. Yes, I know what you're thinking. So that's exactly what I was planning to do. So I grabbed the ladder after I'd knocked and called out a few times and didn't get any responses. And I noticed that the window to the toilet was open. And so I started to pull on the window and then realised there's actually a catch on it, so it can only open so far. And if I was like younger and I wasn't as fat as I am now, I could have got through that window, but I couldn't. So I had to look at another option. And then I noticed that there was another window that was open. And that window was the bathroom window. And I was calling out and I heard some noises and I thought it might have been the dogs. And I was like, hang on, is that a dog noise pattering around in there or anything? And I wasn't too sure. But I knew, there's 2 dogs in the house, right?
There is.
Yeah.
But they're usually crammed in Sam's tiny little box of a room.
Well, so I was all ready to lean that ladder from the toilet window over to the bathroom window because they're separate rooms. And then I heard some noises that sounded a little bit odd, as if somebody might be in there. And I was thinking that can't be a dog. Then I discovered that there was actually somebody in the bathroom having a shower. So it's a good thing that I did not try to use the ladder to climb through the bathroom window. And but fortunately that person...
yes, Fred almost did do a Winnie the Pooh.
So I almost wound up climbing through the window when somebody was having a shower. They were very kind. I won't tell you who it was. Did
you just say very kind?
They were very kind.
I know who it is.
Okay, yeah. So they passed the fan through the door, and thank you. So that was my my Mr. Bean moment.
All that happened, and that was actually quite a short period of time.
I know.
There's a lot of stuff that happened, yeah.
And it almost coincides perfectly with what we're doing here. It was humorous in many respects, because as soon as I noticed the door was locked, I was like, oh shit. I suppose you could say I have a Winnie a Pooh moment, but
Yeah.
I was thinking I've just had a Mr. Bean moment, and I've just been talking about Mr. Bean's crazy things, because the reason Mr. Bean gets into all these problems, right, is he winds up either doing something that's really probably something he shouldn't have done,
Yeah.
right, or he winds up in a really odd situation that he's trying to solve, and he doesn't know how to solve it without causing issues.
I don't think he's very good at problem solving, let's be fair.
Well, no, that's true.
He's interesting at it.
Yeah.
He's interesting at it. I'll give him that.
So I had an idea. I could talk about all the things that Mr. Bean has done over the years that have been funny in movies and TV series, but I actually realised, oh no, the battery's gone.
Oh well, this one's dry enough.
Okay, the battery's...
Sort of...
Can I plug that into a different connector? Will it plug into my phone charger?
Yep.
Okay, I'll put it in the phone charger. Okay.
Well, just get the connector, and I can plug it into this thing.
Oh, you just need the connector. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that now.
It's just USB.
Okay. All right.
This has got Mum's phone one on it.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's what
No? What about this connection in this end? Same problem.
Same problem.
Okay, so it's not going to charge. But I could charge it though. Can I? Not? Is it the wrong connector?
It's the old stuff.
Oh, it's the old. I don't have the old one anymore. Oh no, I do have the old one.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Let me just. It's got to go to more. Hang on. You keep them occupied. Keep painting. I'll be back.
Painting. They're wet though.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, this is a real mission of a morning. Tune up late and everything goes wrong.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Oh, it is the old one, right? Yep. Okay. All right, we're in business again. All right, I was a little bit worried there. Okay. We've got the fan working again. All right. So while he's drying stuff, I will tell you. I thought what I would do is I'll tell you some of the silly situations I got myself into, and share that with everybody, because at the time they may not have been funny, but you know, a few years down the track, they're quite a lot funnier than they were then. So my first story is while you try to dry your the miniatures there. My first story is I used to have to work for a company called Odyssey House. I don't work for Odyssey House. They made me redundant, but I worked as their woodwork tutor. And there was a lady there who was one of the therapists. And, well, I have to say that what I found is I really liked her. She was very, very fun, but she was also very feisty. She was Irish, she was short, and she was working with a lot of people from corrections coming to rehabilitation, right? Because it was better to preferred to go there than to go to jail, because then of course it's easier to jump the fence, frankly, because we don't have locked gates or anything like that. It's like, freedom, and away I go. But she had to, you have to deal with a lot of rubbish from people coming out of prison. And she was always acting tough, and I was like, man, you act tough all the time, but I think it's all show. And so I decided I was looking through a variety store.
You said she's Irish though.
She was Irish. She's feisty. Get pretty angry.
She probably is quite tough.
Well, as she was short, she wasn't actually that young, and I found some fake bullet holes. And I took the fake bullet holes and I put the fake bullet holes on her window screen. And yeah, I put them in the middle of her window screen too. Mm-hmm. And then I went back to work, and nobody showed up for work. And I was in there all day. And what I didn't realize is that when she had tried to go home, she had discovered the fake bullet holes, and she had thought somebody had shot holes in the front of her window screen initially. Yeah. Then she discovered that they were fake and tried to get them off and couldn't. They were stuck in place and they wouldn't move. Hello, how's it going, Noroak? Noroak is also a patron. Thank you for joining us. So she's trying to get these fake bullet holes off the window screen. And I don't know about any of this. She goes back, talks to management, and they draw every single person. You're going to have to move a bit further forward, I think, for people to be able to see.
This is really difficult, man.
I know. This is so awkward. Like, it's you can't imagine how complicated things have got today. Yeah. It it really does feel like a Mr. Bean show, frankly.
It does actually. Good topic.
Yeah. So
the fake bullets.
The fake bullet holes in her window screen that she could not get off because they, for some reason, wouldn't remove easily. She talked to management and they pulled every single client because they thought it was one of the clients had pulled a practical joke on her, and they then called House in the Lounge and had them sit there for hours and hours. And at the end of the day, just before I'm about to go home, it's about 5 o'clock. I find all the staff are in the staff room, and they're all talking about, you know, the fact that somebody's put these fake bullet holes on her car window screen, and that nobody's owning up to it, of course, because none of them have actually done it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that even if they had done it, they would have owned up, but and they're like, yeah, Fred. They told me the story about, you know, the fact that she'd come and told us about this, and you know, those fake bullet holes wouldn't come off, and nobody in the house was owning up to it. And I said, well, actually, I put those fake bullet holes on it. But she had already gone home because she wasn't going to wait around. It was like 5 o'clock, 5:30. It was time to go home, right?
Yeah.
And then when management heard this, they they just looked at me and they were dumbfounded. And it was awkward because they then had to, of course, let all of the clients out of the house. They didn't explain exactly what had taken place.
Of course not.
But as it happened later on, the word of who was responsible for the fake bullet holes did, in fact, leak out, and the entire clientele did find out that they wound up pulled in the house because of something I had done, and it got really quite awkward. I remember the clinical leader saying, "You're so lucky that she actually likes you, Fred," and I was like, "Yeah, I suppose that's true." But then again, she is short, old, and even though she's Irish, so I could probably still run away. And so, yeah, that blew up in my face big time, people. And me pulling practical jokes on people, I can assure you that I know it's not like I put this on YouTube or anything like this, right? This is before YouTube was really a thing I even knew existed. This is just me and the way that I operate in the past, which you see still remnants of it today. Okay, but it's not as bad as it was. So I can assure you that was one day where I was like, I have made a horrible, horrible mistake, is the fake bullet holes on somebody's windows. So then I had
Sounds like a success to me, to be honest.
Well, what was more difficult is she could not find a way to get it off. So I had to explain to her the best way and option. And so methylated spirits and a razor blade were the final result of actually removing it. Yeah, so, you know, those paint scrapers, they're really handy for removing fake bullet holes from window screens, apparently.
Yes.
And a little bit of alcohol makes a big difference in terms of making sure that things
Glue's all off.
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually get things that get stuck on there off. So safety tip: when attaching fake bullet holes to a window screen, make sure you have a good way of removing it, and it won't have blowback to like the wider community. Always good to make sure you do that sort of thing. How's that sound? Does that sound like a very Mr. Bean moment?
Yeah, it sounds like a Mr. Bean moment.
Mm-hmm.
You've got plenty of those, don't you?
I unfortunately do.
Was the poo in the swimming pool?
Oh God, should I tell the
poo in the swimming pool?
Okay, you know about the story.
I
Okay,
do.
David knows about the story. So, same place. I'm working at Odyssey House, and one of the duties as my job was to actually clean the swimming pool. So I went off on holiday over Christmas, came back, and they had the clients had just destroyed the pool. Utterly just made winded and a razor. I don't know what winded and a razor is. What is winded? Is that like blowing on it? Is that how you do it? A razor blade and blowing?
Might be a type of cleaning product.
Maybe it exists in North America. Doesn't mean anything to me in New Zealand. So This swimming pool was a mess. I came back, it was full of containers, it was black, because what they had done is on New Year's while I was away, is they'd all covered themselves in shaving foam, got stark naked, and just jumped in the pool and just had like a pool party and gone bananas. And the staff had not controlled that at all. So I came back to a pool that was a disaster to deal with. Oh, what do you got here? Hi, Jay Lauren. I think you both and Mr. Pickett together should make a ridiculous feud that sucks in the OGL controversy, but no fan of either channel would ever fall for it. So, as it happens, AJ Pickett has just signed on to make a new RPG, which of course he will make open source because that's how he sees the game, and he'll be, of course, he's not so much into rules, but he will be doing a lot of the lore for that. And it's going to be made in conjunction with a RPG called Monster, where you can actually play as a monster race or species or character type. That's the whole point, is you play as a monster rather than your traditional fantasy. So that's going to go out on the market at some point because it's been confirmed. He's told me about it. So not only that, there is Indestructo Boy, who's actually doing the same sort of thing. Dias Ex Machina. Chris Dias is actually building a RPG in a live stream today. I will be doing one when I come back from my holiday. I'm not going to wait till 2024. No. Since I am not going to talk about Dungeons and Donuts, I'm going to simply make a game system so similar to it that I can talk about. And of course I have to make it first, don't I? So unlike other people, I'm not going to take like a week or something silly like a couple of weeks or a month or a year or whatever like that. I'll probably get it done in a day.
Wow.
And if I can't get it done in a day, it might take me 2 days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I know, but I can make.
Is it that easy to make a game like Dungeons?
I don't know about easy, but I'm just gonna backward engineer it.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But so back to the swimming pool thing.
Yes.
I've answered your question, I think, Lauren. You'll let me know if I haven't, and we'll go there. But I'm trying to stay away from OGL controversies today, because instead we've got my own controversies to contend with. Hopefully AJ states that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro can never use his product. I don't know that necessarily is something he would do. So I don't know that would be necessarily something that AJ would do. That doesn't sound like AJ. Although, even though he won't necessarily have, he's angry with him, and so am I. Yeah. So back to the swimming pool. So I had this swimming pool to clean up, and I did. It took a long time. I had to put over 10 kilos of chlorine into that swimming pool.
That's right. You ended up getting chlorine poisoning.
No, not that day.
Not that
day. That's a different day. I'll tell you about that story later, maybe. Oh, man. Yeah. So things did not go well, and so I finally got it cleaned up, and I was so angry. Actually, I didn't even clean it up. No, that's right. I left it, and they were still swimming in it, even though it was a mess.
Oh.
Right. And so I decided. In the end, I decided I did clean it. Yes, I did clean it, and then I went shopping for a fake poo, and I found a gelatinous sort of soft, squishy, sticky thing that looked like a real turd. Okay, and I took that thing, and just before they were going to jump into the pool, I threw it in the pool, and I let it just float in there, and then I walked away. And so you probably, if you haven't seen any kind of movies that have like a pool scene and there's like a brown thing floating in there and everybody's in the pool and somebody spots it and then there's this huge panicking, that was my vision. That was what I was after. The only problem is that the people who work in the workshop, I didn't realize they had gone and cleaned the pool. And so they came back and told me that they cleaned the pool. I said, no, remember, I said, don't clean the pool. Why did you clean the pool? Because it was a mess, Fred. And I said, I know it was a mess, but don't clean the pool. And I'm like, God, no. So I went looking to see if they'd cleaned it. And I said, did you find like a brown thing in the pool? And they said, what are you talking about? No, we didn't find anything like that. And so I was freaking out. I was like, what if it's got stuck in the pump? Oh. What if it got sucked down into the system? Yeah, so also Norok is actually in the process, I believe, of making a game system himself. Everybody's going to be making game systems. We're going to flood the market.
Yeah.
So I'm freaking out because I don't know where this fake poo is. They've cleaned it. They didn't find it. I'm thinking it's stuck in the inside the pump, and I'm turning it off and trying to stick my hand down there to see if I can find anything that might be like a fake poo that got stuck in the pump. And it was starting to wear on me. 2.5 hours of just terror, because it's expensive to repair a pulled pump. They're not cheap. You know, a couple of $1,000s. And if you get a really good one, they're even more expensive.
Yeah.
So I never found it. And then somebody came to me, and I was like, I revealed what I had done, and I revealed to the people who were working in the workshop, because they all understood my rationale, because they all had to clean the swimming pool as well. Anybody who was working in the workshop had to clean the swimming pool. And they said, well, Fred, we totally understand why you try to do it, because we're frustrated too, because we had to clean it. And then somebody said, who knows a lot more about chlorine and swimming pools, they said to me, Fred, what was it made of? And I told them. And they said, well, the problem is, Fred, that chlorine's probably eaten it away. If it had been a real poo, it would have eaten it away. Your fake poo has probably been consumed by that chlorine and broken down to nothing, which is why you can't find it. So I caused myself an awful lot of stress, and it affected absolutely nobody else but me.
What a wasted practical joke that was.
Yeah. Try that for a Mr. Bean moment, I'll tell you. Oh man, I'm really having problems with it today. But anyway, so that was one of my really ridiculous moments.
One of, man, the amount of things you've done. Practical joking, it was your thing.
That was my thing. Do you want to hear another one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. And what are you just highlighting with little bits of
no,
white?
I'm going to put lots of thin coats of white over so you can still see the colour through.
Okay.
Because it's a snowman.
It's a snowman, yeah. All right, I'll let you concentrate while I tell the story.
Yeah.
And you by all means feel like, yeah, I am a naughty man, Osric. I was much naughtier than I am now. The fact that I think part of the reason there are some YouTubers who don't really want to hang out with me is because I am quite naughty at times. My sense of humour is a little bit much for some people to take.
Sadistic.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that so much. Well, no, I wouldn't say that so much. I mean, there's aspects of that at times, but no, that's no. I think the problem is that yeah, for them, it's not something that they can cope with, and social media is unforgiving in this climate. You know, social media is like a hornet's nest, so they're always terrified, and so they terrify me when I say stuff. What's Art Teacher Online? How's it going, Mum? Take Dungeons and Chronics advice and get some water, Fred. I have been drinking water. I've gone through the entire thing, but then of course, if I drink too much, it might mean that I have to go to the toilet again.
You went to the toilet. You just poured your drink in a cup and said,
yeah, but that was just a pretending. I wasn't actually doing that. Hello, Todd. Todd is also a patron, I'm pretty sure. And I'm glad you appreciate my sense of humour. Okay, so I'm pouring water into a cup. I'm not actually taking a leak in the office, okay? So
he says.
Yeah,
but I'm here, I know the truth.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you another story, which is not so much a Mr. Bean moment for me, but is probably one of the funniest things that I've ever come across in my life. And my response is probably not necessarily the best response either, but I thought I'll tell you this story because it is pretty funny. So I was working at a place called IHC, the Intellectually Handicapped Children, which were no longer children, they're all grown up. And I was working in a house, residential home. And there's this house. Hello, Michael. How are you doing? So I'm working in this house, and you have split shifts, which is horrible. You got a sleepover, which is horrible. And hello, Overboard. How are you doing that? Hi, Joe. Joe's a patron and a moderator, and he's got a YouTube channel that deals with miniatures and terrain. I seen Mr. Bean in a Space Marine suit. Really, I love
Wicked.
that. If I could find a picture, I would have used it. But yeah, never mind. So my Mr. Bean moment was actually translating over to somebody else. What's this, Michael? I live in England. Several years ago, in the late 80s, I used to love watching TV back then. Yeah, it's not so much fun now.
I love that show.
Yeah, the Young Ones is pretty good. I was less interested in the Young Ones myself.
Sam liked it.
Yeah, he loved that show. My brother, my other brother, not from another mother, from the same mother. So. Okay.
From a different papa.
So I'm working in this residential home, and one of the clients there has a bird, a fish, and they also had a dog. And every weekend they would clean out the bird cage, regular as clockwork. They were really quite serious about looking after their animals, which was great. And one day he came to me and he said, "Fred, I think I've lost the bird." And I was like, "Well, how? It's in a cage." He said, "But I let it out of the cage." And I said, "Why would you let the bird out of the cage if you didn't want to lose the bird?" And he said to me, "Well, because I was trying to clean it, and I don't clean the cage with the bird in the cage, obviously, because I can't get in there." And so I let it fly around the house, but I closed all the windows. And I said, "Okay, well, that's smart, I guess." But he said, "I think what has happened is somebody's opened one of the windows or doors, and it's flown away, because I can't find it in the house now that I've cleaned the cage." And I said, "Are you absolutely sure?" And he said, "No, I honestly, I've looked everywhere and I can't find the bird." And I said, "Well," and I tried to be sympathetic, but actually, truly in my heart, I was like, "You fool, you deserve this." And I kept go back to reading my book, and I said, "Okay, well, you maybe just think about it, have another look around later on, maybe it'll show up, you never know." And he came back 2 hours later and he said, "Fred, good news, I found the bird." And I said, "Oh, okay, cool. Where was it?" And he said, well, it wasn't actually in the house." And I said, "Well, did you find it outside? How did you catch it in the first place, dude?" And he said, no, I've gotten really good at catching the bird. No, not a problem. No. I was emptying out the vacuum cleaner, and I put out the paper, and I turned out all the gunk, and there's the little bird, like perched, terrified, and shivering. I'd sucked it up with the vacuum cleaner. I actually forgot to take the bird out of the cage when I was cleaning, and so the reason I couldn't find it in the house is because I hadn't actually taken it out of the cage. I just sucked it up with the vacuum cleaner.
What a moron.
And he was laughing and I was laughing, and I said, "Well, is the bird still alive?" And he said, "Well, currently. Do you think it's all right?" And he said, "Yeah, I think it'll live." And I said, "Well, look, let's give it a day. And if it dies from shock, we know it's not all right. And if it's still alive tomorrow, that's probably a good thing." And the guy who no, honestly, this guy was really good with animals. This is one of the reasons why we let him have the dog, even though the managers didn't like it at all. The staff there working there said, no, you can have a dog. You look after your fish and your bird really well.
Well, I'd say really well, but okay, yeah.
Well, till that day.
Till that day.
I mean, it was just it's a moment, and he's living in a home for somebody who's got intellectual development issues and stuff like that. So not necessarily everything upstairs is working properly, right? So it's going to happen. So that was a pretty good story. I thought that was quite entertaining.
Did the bird survive?
The bird did live, actually.
Well, Mum will be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Remember, she loves birds, and you've just terrified her.
Look, I'm sure that a lot of animal lovers are just frowning on this story right now, but I had to tell you the story, okay? It had to be told.
Yeah.
So that is another thing that has happened in my life that was, well, not so much Mr. Bean for me, but definitely Mr. Bean for somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm rattling around in my brain trying to remember some of the other things that I have done. And the problem is there are certain things I probably shouldn't say on YouTube, because there's some really bad things that have, if I could not have, this is Tom and Jerry cartoon, this may well have turned into that in many respects. I don't know what else to say in that, some of the things that I've got to up over the years have gotten out of hand. So let's move on to the next one, because there's more than one. And I'm not proud of some of the things that I've done, but again, we had a nurse. Again, we're going back to Odyssey House. I pulled a lot of stuff off it. I worked there a long time, people. Okay, so I got up to a lot of mischief. And there was a nurse that was working at Odyssey House, and I really like nurses. No, don't get me wrong. It's not like that. But every single nurse that I ever worked with was just great to work with. They were fantastic. Really good people. This nurse would make everybody wait no matter how much pain or agony or trouble they had to contend with. And I don't know what she was up to. And so one day I decided, I was talking to some of the people working in the workshop with me, and I said, I want to play a practical joke on the nurse. How do you feel about helping me with this? And they said, yeah, sure, well, we'll do that. And they explained, because they had been sitting in the waiting room for ages sometimes, and they've got real serious problems going on. To be fair, she's probably done that for very good reasons. Okay, I was not fully aware of everything that's going on, but I decided I was going to pull up a practical joke. I have a fetish for nurses. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's so much that. I always found, I'm not going to press the button on that one. Osric, primarily, it's not showing it because the mouse is on the other side. Okay, so I talked to the people in the workshop, and we decided on a plan for this nurse. And we decided that since we had a nail gun in the workshop, that the best thing we could do is have the practical joke be revolving around a nail gun accident. So we found a nail, we cut it off, we then stuck it very carefully to somebody's thumb or finger, and then we dressed it up with pencils and pens and so forth to make it look like it was actually a real wound. And we even added a little bit of blood, and it was very convincing. I looked at it and I said, geez, is that real or not? And I said, is some of you like makeup artists for a movie or something like that? Because that's really convincing. So we got some of the guys and some of the ladies actually helped us out with that whole thing. And so I was like, okay, we're ready. So we then sent them in, and I said, look, you've got to play it for real. You can't break out in laughter. Okay, you've got to play the role to the hilt. And he did a really good job. So for between 10 and 15 minutes, she was convinced that he had a nail injury, but she also made him wait for about half an hour before she actually had a look at the injury. That's how it works there. There was nobody in the waiting list. There was nobody waiting for her. She just made him wait. I actually told her, I've got one of the guys have hurt themselves and got a nail injury in their finger. So I let it off. Okay, there's no way of me escaping this. So it's definitely, I'm part of this thing completely. And then, so your Dungeons and Chronicles will answer your question in a second. Let me finish the story because it's a long story, I realise. So we played it out. He played it out. It was very convincing, and there were a few of us who were hiding around the corner watching to see how it was all going to pan out. And in the end, she discovered exactly what it was, because he wouldn't even let her touch the nail or the injury, so he could bleed it out for even as long as possible. And when she finally found out, the story spread throughout the entire building like wildfire. The fact that I was responsible and the mastermind behind it all, it just went whoof. And that nurse was very good about the whole thing when she found out that I was actually part and parcel of this whole. She did pull me in and explain to me why some people had to wait to see her for a variety of different reasons. Whether I agreed with them or not, it was beside the point. She's doing the job, not me. And that was the other thing that I did. And I can assure you that everybody in that building knew about it. Everybody knew. And there have been times where I have probably gone a little bit too far. That wasn't so bad, that one. That didn't turn out too horrible for me. But then apparently I then was classified as the prankster in the building. And everybody was warned about what Fred is like. Now, Dungeons and Chronics. How do you choose what part of to paint different colours? So, can you explain?
Depends. Depends what I'm painting, I suppose. These ones, I just sort of slap colour on it, because I just think of like water as reflective, snow as ice, blues and purples are sort of like watery colours. So just to give it a bit of colour.
Mm.
But other times I use the purples and stuff as shadows, because you get good shadowing and it uses colour for shadow rather than black. Just stops it from being bland.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it depends. It depends what colours you're using as well, what you're mixing with it. Like if you're using greens and stuff, you want to use reds as shadows, and it's because it's a complementary colour. Yes, Fred is a prankster. I'm not.
Yeah. So Joe, yes, I am. I've gotten better. I have toned it down.
He's in recovery.
I am in recovery, but there are times when it does escape onto my YouTube channel. The young ones, everything's on YouTube now. I'm not surprised that the full episodes are on YouTube for the young ones. Probably because you can't get them anywhere else, more than likely. Garth something place, Dark Place is the greatest UK comedy of all time. I don't know much about that one. Yeah.
What about what was that one with the vampire, the cat, Red Dwarf?
Red Dwarf. Oh yeah, Red Dwarf. You know, I remember I watched the first episode, the first season. After that, I kind of got bored after a while.
Yeah. Sugar's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I watched that too. Yeah, no, I checked that out. Yeah, that was good. That was fun. That was a good time. Oh. Story time telling, revealing all of my dark and deepest secrets. You know, check into that. I'm glad you are going to check into that. So yeah, for those of you who so that story. Look, I'll tell you, I just told that story, and a whole lot of people escaped the live stream. Like that cleared out like a third of the room.
Really?
Yeah. There's 10 people watching now compared to the 15 that were here before. I scared a lot of people away. All right. Another story. We will probably have I got a story that I can tell that will probably scare even more people away? I don't know. I'm not. That's not my goal, because you know I'm going to have enough trouble, because I'm probably not going to talk that much about Dungeons and Donuts anymore. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm not going to talk about Dungeons and Donuts, but I'm probably not going to talk about.
Well, now 15 people are going to miss out on watching me paint now.
Well, I know. I apologise, David, because the whole point was for people to actually get to see what you do, and I have ruined that in the most, ridiculous and immature way. It's like you're dealing with a teenager. Todd, it's going to take more than that to scare me away. Well, that's nice of you to say. I do appreciate that. We're actually coming up close to that hour mark. How's the work on this little sucker doing?
Yeah, he's getting there. I'll be able to finish them tomorrow.
Are we coming back to him again tomorrow?
Yep.
So I've got to figure out what I put up there in terms of a thumbnail.
Go with the original.
Go with the original.
You can find the original idea that you had.
What was the original idea?
The Christian mini.
You want? I don't know if I can find a decent sized picture of Mr. Bean crashing a car. Okay. If I can find that, I will. The Misadventures of Fred. Yeah, it's very much like that, mate. I have apparently had many misadventures. Yeah, Red Dwarf at the beginning was really good. I'm not sure that I was sold on it after a while.
I like Farscape.
Yeah, Fred is a prankster in many ways, unfortunately.
Yeah, which makes him a good GM.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Not always. Sometimes. Yeah. Well, so my brain is actually. I actually had a couple of ideas that were in my brain, and they've gone. Like they vanished. They were.
What about pranksters? What about pranksters? Pulling stuff, tricks on gamers.
Pranksters pulling tricks on.
GM. You're a GM, right? And you pull numbers over gamers during games.
Oh, yes. There's been a few of them. You mean the backfires?
Yeah. What's some stuff that's really?
I don't really want to. I don't want to talk about backfiring GM stuff so much today.
Oh, okay.
I'm feeling
I'm just sort of thinking.
You mean
funny situations that you've put people in.
You mean DM is Donut Master?
Donut Master, yeah.
Oh, as in Donut Master, as in the Sonic the Hedgehog Donut Master.
Yeah.
Could well be, Fred. If you're on tomorrow, you can think about all of the good stories you want to tell tonight. Then share them with us tomorrow. Yeah, I could do the good stories tomorrow. I could probably make a quick list of what I've done in a short space of time. Yeah, absolutely. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. What I will probably do is I will post a link to David's channel when I finish this, and then I was supposed to do a redirect to what Chris is doing today, because I'll be over there with Chris and his thing. Farscape, yeah, no, I remember Farscape, the science fiction shows.
Jim Henson.
Yeah. It was cool. It was a shame when it disappeared. But then the same thing with Firefly, right? Firefly disappeared after a while.
Well, actually, now that I know, after hearing an awful lot about what Josh Whedon's like as a director, I'm sort of I am anti that show.
Well, I don't think I'm anti the show, but that doesn't mean that I have.
He's not a good person.
There's no credit for Joss Whedon if he's that difficult to work with.
He's nasty, apparently. It's just not good.
So which is odd. Yeah, I would.
It is.
I would never have guessed it myself.
No, neither.
Never actually have seen it. But that's not what we're here for.
No.
So let's forget about that.
Okay.
Because that feels like going down the negative train.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea was to actually get people to laugh today. Since so many of us have been falling to puddles of despair. You know what I mean? Don't need that. No. So you're gonna tell me when, Fred, you have finished painting today, and we will stop the stream. We'll go, but you'll let me know, and I'll try to come up with something else to say. Even though my brain, if I drink enough water, maybe I'll remember something. It's possible.
It's possible.
So I was deciding on if I was to make an RPG, which I will be, what would I call it? And I decided, well, actually, whatever I call it, I don't want to tell people what I'm going to call it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because somebody else might use that name, since there are so many people making things right now.
Yeah.
Overboard. Fred's Mysterious and Exciting. Tom and Jerry inspired story out. This is, oh God, that means that I'm going to use a Tom and Jerry image now at some point.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry. Maybe tomorrow's Tom and Jerry.
Yep.
Tom and Jerry story.
I used to watch a lot of Tom and Jerry, so.
And then I can stick like a little snowman over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's snowman instances in those stories.
There may well be.
Yep.
I might even have a picture of a snowman and be able to put Tom and Jerry onto that image, which just make it even better.
Yeah.
So thank you for the suggestion, Joe. I do appreciate it. This is very helpful. And too many ways. So I decided that maybe the name would be a code name to start with, rather than the real name, since there's like everybody.
Donut Protocol.
The Donut Protocol.
Yep.
I suppose I could, but I was actually thinking, what if I call it Phoenix? Phoenix RPG. Now the reason being, I was thinking Phoenix RPG is not because it was supposed to be funny, but because I was thinking, when your favorite game manages to burn itself to the ground and you feel like it's going to end forever, how do you resurrect it? With a phoenix. Do you get it?
Yep.
You get it.
Yep.
Rises
from the ashes.
Rises from the ashes of the destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was thinking,
positive spin on it.
Positive spin. Like that's so. Phoenix RPG. When I'm not on holiday, I'll start on Phoenix RPG, and I will build it. And I don't muck around, man. It'll get done fast. And where will I put it? I will put it up on Patreon for free.
Nice.
And I will even write up an OGL that is actually an OGL. Not that I know anything about any of that sort of stuff, but I will figure out how to do it. A vacuum and a bird in the thumbnail. Gee, yeah, but is it related to painting a snow golem?
If it's being sucked up in the snow.
Maybe a picture of a vacuum cleaner sucking up a snowman.
Yeah.
That
A
could
snowbird.
be a snowbird. Is there such a thing?
There will be in your new game, I'm sure.
No. I want everybody to make all that stuff themselves. I'm not going to make that stuff.
Oh, I'll make it then.
You can make that if you like. Yeah, it's fine.
The only
That's
monster
fine.
I ever create is a snowbird that's harmless.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, we'll leave it there for today.
Okay. Let me.
Just coating lots and lots of thin layers of white over it.
Yes, I can see that. So I'll tell you what. You talk into the microphone, and I will.
Aloha.
Yeah. You keep talking because I can't keep talking because I've been talking for a long time.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I will start pressing some buttons and see what happens. Okay.
You don't know what's going to happen?
Well, I'm hoping I know what's going to happen. Yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is also...
Oh, yeah.
I like watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I watched right to the end.
Not British, though.
No.
But Joss Whedon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who is toxic, a Hollywood toxic, apparently. Okay. Oh, but we're not talking about that.
No, stop doing that. Right, so
Yeah.
talk into the microphone, baby. Into the microphone.
Aloha.
And into the side of the microphone.
Aloha.
Let's see if we can...
What about aloha? Aloha.
Let's end the poll.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, poll ending.
Oh, there we go.
And the poll is... Most people know who Mr. Bean is.
Yeah, of course. Here's David's channel.
That is me. I'll put a new video up today.
And then if I can find where is Chris? This is where I'm going to be most of the day while I'm reading a book. I will be watching this live stream. So you'll find me hanging out over here. And he is building a retro clone, essentially, in many respects, of...
Dungeons and Donuts.
Yeah, Dungeons and Donuts, exactly. Fire Fury RPG. Nice. I like it. So let's transition out into something appropriate, shall we?
Yep.
Something that's that makes and works. Okay. So I'm here. David's here. I would like to say thank you to all of my patrons. You are actually incredibly important, and you will of course notice that the name change to How to RPG will appear on Patreon in the future. Slowly but surely, I'm working my way through all of my social media, and so it's really, you really do make it a lot easier for me, because right now YouTube doesn't like people unless they're talking about the OGL dramas, and if you're not talking about D&D, you're kind of dead. So it means, I guess, my channel is going to shrink into obscurity very, very quickly, and also at the worst time of the year. So really, thank you very much for supporting me. You support all the things that I do, and that makes a big difference. And for everybody who's been part of the live stream that was here and commented and watched, thank you. And for watching the replays of the live streams, really, it makes a big difference. Otherwise, I'm really just talking to myself. And when you start talking to yourself on YouTube, you know that you need medication. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. That's the first sign of...
I'm already medicated. I don't need any more.
Well, I'm medicated too, but I don't need any more either. Yeah. So I don't... Yeah, it's... make sure to sub to David's channel so that when he gets to 50, he can actually live stream, but he can't live stream till he has 50 subscribers. Okay. So we're back to working him back up there. And
I put videos up though.
Yeah,
I'm putting videos up.
Yeah, they will get released. You will see some stuff coming up. So there will be some videos. They're very short ones. Yeah. And thank you to everybody who's been watching my edited videos and the shorts, putting up with them. I know it's painful, but YouTube sort of doesn't like you if you don't do them. And
thanks, Michael.
Yeah, that's the way. Thank you, mate. And wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours, and do whatever you need to do with Dungeons and Donuts. I'm not going to tell you what to do, okay? I know what I'm going to do. And thank you, David.
You're welcome.
And we will do this again tomorrow.
I'll be back.
You will be back. Yeah, we'll both be back.
Yeah.
And hopefully the fan will be here, and I won't have to go and
I'll
grab.
charge it. Yeah, I'll charge it.
Yeah. We'll be all right. It won't be quite as complicated as.
I try not to sleep in.
Yeah. Oh, did you sleep in?
Yeah, I was dehydrated. I had problems sleeping last night.
Ah, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, so thank you, everybody. And yeah, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.
Skadoosh.